There it is. What up, you guys? Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are back for another episode of ArtistPro Live. Thank you for joining me. Let me put away my little window here. What up? The Impulse is back. Good to have you back, my friend. We are back again, you guys. Another Monday. Thank you for joining me. Hopefully, you are making this now a routine of yours to join us every Monday, 11 o'clock Pacific time, for another episode of ArtistPro Live. I want to thank all the usual heads for sliding through: the Chris Canes, the Oliver Blues. Hey, the Impulse. Good to have you here again, my friend. Thank you for joining. Quick housekeeping item right in the beginning, of the top of the show. This is an abbreviated show today. I do got to get out of here in about 40 minutes already. As you can see right there, your boy just got a new bell brass snare drum in. I got to immediately run to a recording session to basically test that out to make sure it's going to be tuned properly for a new project I'm on. So yeah, I can't exactly be here for 2 hours this time. I know I said that last week, and I was end up here for like 2+ hours, but this time they really need me there. Yeah. That being said, I think today we're gonna get to your guys' music and your questions pretty much right away. If there's time, I even got a track I can submit for y'all's feedback. I was in San Diego this weekend, Thursday through Sunday, collabing with a good friend of mine named Derek Domino, who goes by the name Sophista. And we've got this really weird experimental rock, electronica, electro prog project. I don't even know what the hell it is. But it might be up some of your all's alley. So I might be throwing that in if you guys are into it. But we are going to start the show with the usual heads. I got Confucius. You're up first. Anubis, I believe is how you say it. Hopefully I'm saying that right. I got Oliver Blue. You're up too. Before we go into it, I do also want to pull up a little thing I saw in my Music Ally post last week, which I made sure to bring up today. For those of you that don't know, Music Ally is a subscription service that you pay for, like a daily email update about what's happening in music tech, the music tech industry, I guess you can say. And I know a lot of us have discussed the whole idea of AI and what's going on with AI. And I'm really interested in the legal component of AI, like who owns what when things are made from an AI generated program. So, with that in mind, let me go ahead and quickly pull up something here that was addressed, at least in the United States of America, for our copyright laws, that I think you guys would be into here. So, I'm going to share this little excerpt I wanted to pull up for y'all. Cool. Check it out. So here's what's happening in the world of AI. Let me just pull this out of the way here. Okay. The US Copyright Office issues guidance on AI works in copyright. So this is as of last Friday. Does art, including music, created by an AI qualify for copyright protection? It's complicated. The simple answer, in the United States at least, and that's very important to remember here, by the way, is a firm no for works created entirely by an AI. However, what about works created by an AI by a human? That's more complicated. A new statement of policy by the U.S. Copyright Office explores the latter topic, while it reiterates that, quote, copyright can protect only material that is the product of human creativity. That's interesting. It digs into the nuances around that, particularly whether a work is a human's, quote, original mental conception. How interesting. We're now in the era of words like that, original mental conception, rather than simple mechanical reproduction, which does make sense. For example, when an AI, quote, receives solely a prompt from a human and produces complex written, visual, or musical works in response, it's not considered to be true human authorship and thus can't be protected by copyright. However, if a human can, quote, select or arrange AI generated material in sufficiently creative way, which again, what does that mean? That's very subjective, or modify material originally generated by AI technology enough, it can be considered human authorship and thus protected. The human authored bits can be. A recent ruling on a graphic novel illustrated this, which we can link to later. The guidance, even though it's US specific, is well worth reading if you're thinking about these issues in relation to music, whether you're a musician, a rights holder, or collecting society, an AI startup, policymaker, or elsewhere in the world. So it's still basically up in the air. We don't exactly know how this is going to flesh out. I think really, I mean, look, they can have all these things in place, you guys, but we're not going to see anything really substantial until someone sues someone else, and someone is going to be high profile, and then we'll really get a good lay of the land. Because right now it still sounds murky. It still sounds like objective, or subjective rather, not as objective as I think I'd like to. And look, this speaks to a whole other slew of other hot topics. I'm sure some of you guys are familiar with the whole Not Low situation. If you're not, basically a producer named Not Low, a bass music producer, was caught using construction packs as tracks. So when you buy sample packs, they come with construction packs, and they basically give you a sample track to demonstrate what the whole song, could sound like if you use different parts of it. What, like, basically a sample. Just It's just an example of what a song could sound like. And this girl put it out as her own track. And apparently, this is not the first time she's done this before. And yeah, it turned into a whole big stink. And that kind of leads to the broader question of like, well, what is free use? What's protected under copyright? What is reproduction? What is production? Call me old fashioned, but I think musicians should know how to make music and not just put out shit that's already been made. I know it's been a big thing lately too, but this AI one is very interesting. And this is the latest, you guys. This is the latest word we have on the whole AI thing right now. We still don't quite know how it's going to play out. Your Honor, everything you're about to hear from now on until forever was my original mental conception. Money, please. Straight up. I know, dude. We're living in a very bizarre time. Oliver Blue, what do you have to say on this one? I combine AI art tools with my own tools all the time. It's a lot of fun. It provides me some great inspiration. I was actually hanging out with a copywriter the other day when I was down in San Diego, and they're already on it. Like, she doesn't feel threatened by AI. Like, she'll literally just like type in some prompts and then she'll get some stuff back. But like, even if she told me, even if she submits what the AI gave her, there's always a human at the end of the chain to ensure the accuracy of a lot of these things and to even sometimes change the language. But she said that like it's already sped up her process by 50%. And I think like that's where we're in now, where AI is just going to really speed up some processes. But I feel like it's not out of the question to consider a time that's going to come up very soon when it will pretty much be the process. Chris Kane, how would they know if it was created by an AI or not? Can one just say they created something, and if it's an all original created by AI, how can they prove otherwise? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's 1999, 2000, 2001 all over again a little bit of like, all right, now, file sharing is a thing. And then like so many people are like, oh no, what do we do? It's the end of the industry. And other people were like, no, we need to embrace the industry, embrace this. And obviously the latter was more correct because those who fought against it looked like dinosaurs and then missed out on what could have been. Like, imagine if the music industry embraced streaming. Imagine if they embraced file sharing and embraced downloads, instead of just trying to like protect it and fight it, and get their way all the time. But I think now we're in a different era where I think we have more hindsight because of things like the internet. And also this issue, well, to be fair, file sharing didn't just affect music, it affected pretty much all media. But music was obviously the big scapegoat. Ironically, now I think through AI, like visual media has taken the biggest effect on it. I mean, like AI music is obviously a thing, but it hasn't quite crossed over yet. Uh, Not at least in terms of the mainstream, because people, I'm sure you guys have seen it, obviously. People have like had these AI art generators and they're everywhere, and a lot of visual artists have been pretty pissed off. Sounds a lot like the early days of Napster when a lot of musicians were pissed off. But again, we won't really see the fallout until someone notable sues someone else. So I don't know. We'll see it. We'll see it now. We'll see it. Oliver says again here, you're getting booted if you turn that in for homework at Icon. Totally. Yes, at least they instilled that. Super Lopez Bros. I've been using AI on my podcast for art and has helped me out a lot. Super, super, super. Word. Yeah, man, we are totally in this transition phase completely. The impulse. I worry that with most things in this era of consumerism, if you don't own the actual tech service product, you are a licensee, and the legal terms of ownership are going to become murky. Yeah. Yeah. I think that kind of just speaks to another concept of just doubling down on a skill or trade. Just make sure like you're actually good at something. And actually with the not low thing, I don't know. Look, there's so many like perspectives on this thing, and I've seen a lot of people like pile on her and like, the internet being the internet, people being stupid. We shouldn't be doing that, obviously. But I do believe that you need to hold people accountable for these things. I don't think you should pile on them, obviously. But, something tells me that assuming she made the music, because there's an argument to be made that maybe she didn't even make the tracks and someone else made the tracks and they're just being lazy. But I feel like maybe, I'm not her, but maybe she was just very eager to be part of the festival scene and was maybe dreading this day that someone would find out and hear the track. But hopefully it lets her grow as a person, and but I understand the frustration of someone ascending to the top and making money and being on bills and festivals when they didn't even actually produce anything. At least to the whole debate of what is talent. I feel like sample packs and all these things are just like, they're basically the talent button. Press the talent button. All these things kind of happen for you. Yeah, I don't know. It's very murky. It's very bizarre. Oliver Blue, yeah, the polling on all that was lame, but agreed. Accountability is very important. Yep, I think that's hopefully we can all walk away from. Also, it's the internet, dude, and people have time, and just don't do it. Not to mention, aren't you just kind of robbing yourself of what makes music fun? Like, really, just like the creative part of it all. I can't believe I have to actually say that now, but we're in. That's the era we're in, dude. That is the era we are in. It'd be cool to hear what her next releases will be. Yeah, totally. This puts her in a place to innovate. If I was her management, I'd be like, "We are getting you in the room with the best producers, and this is your redemption moment." I feel if I was her publicist, I would be like, "Look, don't run away from this. Own it, admit it. Be like, you know what? This is something I did, and maybe this is something that speaks to a larger problem in our community. But here I am gonna display that I'm going all in. And maybe also, if I was her publicist, I would do other things like, I don't know, like create funds or create something that teaches kids to produce music. It's basically like she was canceled in some ways, but there is a way to bounce back from it in a tasteful way, and we'll see how she does. I'm sure she's a very nice person, but yeah, you can't be doing that. That's some bullshit. All right, let's get to your guys' music, shall we? Since we are on limited time, I am gonna just refresh. Super Lopez Bros, I see you. We got you pulled up over here, Mr. Confucius himself. Again, reminder, if you guys want to submit tracks, there's the QR code. It's also available at theartistpro.com. But I got Confucius over here. It's another YouTube clip. Thank you for doing that, my friend. I appreciate that. We're about to pull it up over on this window. Once you pull up, thank you. Yeah. Also, update. I got some good announcements for you guys in terms of guests that will be joining the show recently or coming up. So stay tuned for that. But I got Confucius. The track here is called Nilly Wilson. Let me pull up some more stuff. Describe the project in 2 sentences. He gave me 2 words. Rap shit. Can you tell us anything about it? Old Town Road inspired country hip hop song. Word up. And he's got a question as well that I'll pull up. Oh, but for now, let me go ahead and pull up Confucius. You're up first, dude. Don't trip. I got you right here. Let me pull up the track. Actually, pull up the video, the little visualizer. Thank you for doing that. And here we go. Let me know what you all think. Get your headphones on, turn your monitors up. We all give feedback here, so let's give it a shot.
I be smoking, fucking, drinking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay drinking, smoking, fucking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay fucking, smoking, drinking like I'm Nilly Wilson. Bitch, I'm multicultural. I eat tacos with sriracha. Still with the shits, no people that'll pop you. Have you crying, naked, bleeding, begging, pleading for your run that back, run that back, run that back. Bitch, I'm multicultural. I eat tacos with sriracha. Still with the shits, no people that'll pop you. Have you crying, naked, bleeding, begging, pleading for your mama. Yo, you need to chill, remember what your papa taught ya. Relax and take a breath anytime you feel the demons come, cause shit can get hot and sticky, just like demon come. But lately, I just let them have at it. I'm such a cynical bastard, this shit just come automatic. And it's hard to put on wax, cause the thoughts are erratic. Shocking them all like I'm static, so trust me, you don't want the static, cause the flow is bombastic. I feel fantastic, I smoke the finest green and my rims are wrapped in plastic. I be smoking, fucking, drinking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay drinking, smoking, fucking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay fucking, smoking, drinking like I'm Nilly Wilson. Said I'm on the road again with my 7 Spanish angels, drowned in a whiskey river to the point that I'm disabled. Just get me on a plane, I'm blacked out and sedated. My die cause of an OD, just like most of all the greatest. Rest in peace Mac Miller, R.I.P. to Hendrix. Rest in peace to DMX and Juice WRLD, y'all were legends. A black magic woman opened the door to Nirvana, then I chilled and chopped it up with rap Diablos in a sauna singing. I be smoking, fucking, drinking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay drinking, smoking, fucking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay fucking, smoking, drinking like I'm Nilly Wilson. I be smoking, fucking, drinking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay drinking, smoking, fucking like I'm Willie Nelson. I stay fucking, smoking, drinking like I'm Millie Wilson.
Yeah, yo, sick, dude. That beat was super dope too. You know what that shit reminded me of? Like right away, Atmosphere. I don't know, just like the storytelling, the cadence, the timing of it all remind me of Slug, remind me of Atmosphere. And I was actually just on an Atmosphere binge over the weekend too. So like good timing on that one. Yo, that was super dope, dude. First of all, shout out to Confucius for the lyric video. Why don't you tell us how you got that produced, by the way? Because I know a lot of people always kind of bring this question up, like, where do I go for these lyric videos? And I'm like, Fiverr, anywhere, you know. But let us know in the chat, dude, like where you pulled that up. Where did the beat come from, by the way? Definitely like great beat choice because I felt like that was very fitting for your style there. And he says, what does he say here? I need to get better on the vocal production. Well, in what way? What you guys think of the vocal production? I thought, dude, I think look, I think one of the hurdles of hip hop music sometimes for me, in terms of like just like getting into it, is I can't understand sometimes what people say, and I ain't talking about mumble rap. And it's not just because they're not enunciating enough, which is usually half the problem, but sometimes like their shit's just buried in the mix, or the beat is just so overwhelming. What I love about this style of hip hop is that it leaves so much room, and I think you really took advantage of it in a very very fun way. But in terms of the vocal production, I mean, you know, it dude depends what you're going for, right? I feel like so many people feel that they could be doing more, they should be doing more, but sometimes, I mean, as cliche as it fucking is, dude, less really is more, especially when it's like a lead vocal like that, and you're just walking us through what you just did. Sometimes, like doubles, harmonies, and shit, that could be very distracting sometimes. So, and I feel like when you just have like a pretty raw vocal like that, in a weird way, the humanity comes through a bit more clearly. You know, I just actually having another producer who was more electronic focused. I did an experiment. I was like, would you mind trying mixing one of my rock projects? Just kind of curious to like what that would sound like, you know? And sure enough, like it came out relatively thin and it didn't quite sound alive anymore. And look, all the technical things were being done. I watched it in front of me. The frequency spectrum was on it, all the things, you know, all the right plugins were in place. And by if you A/B them, you know, even he was like, "Why does yours sound better?" I'm like, "Well, because it's a band." And I feel like you need the humanity to come through in a band project more than anything, which is another complaint I have of just a lot of rock metal these days. It's just it's so overly processed. But in your case, I wouldn't really trip about the vocal production as much, dude, especially if you're just trying to crank out tracks and then lay some stuff down. But I thought it was pretty dope. I didn't even really think that that didn't stand out to me like, oh, he should have spent more time with that. And he says right here, I went to Fiverr. There you go. So for those of you guys who are wondering, it's not that expensive, right? I think it's like $25 for something pretty basic. And it really helps. You know, it really helped because I was reading and listening the entire time. The Impulse, I think it's already really solid. Don't know. I don't think it needs any more. It stands out until it clearly tells a story. I kind of agree with you, dude. I feel like in this era, especially, like, move on. Next one. This was good for me. Yep, $25. Pretty good off Fiverr. Yep, that's all it is. I'm just a rap savant, I believe. Yeah, man, not time to roll a J straight up. Again, like this is the kind of hip hop that I feel like will never go out of style, man. I feel like this because it was not you weren't banking on a trend. It was just quite simple, feel good music with a very straightforward, clear, and audible, very audible rhyme on top of it. So I commend you for that. He did have a question. Let's pull it up. And this also I want y'all's feedback on. Also Confucius. Oh yeah, forgive me. Everyone throw your grams or your TikToks or whatever it is that you want people to follow you on to make sure that everyone here stays in touch with everyone and follows everyone. I will be getting a Discord up pretty soon as well because that's what everyone wants these days. But let me go ahead and pull up the question that Confucius had over here. Okay. His question, which you can submit whenever you submit your track. Would it be better to do live shows with the original music at open mics to gain some buzz? How funny. I was just at a concert last night out of actually that band, that album I have behind me. they kind of they split. There was creative differences, surprise, surprise, and there's two versions of the band now. The one I saw last night was missing the original singer, the original guitar player, and the original drummer, and they played mostly new stuff. But everyone came to see the old stuff, and they only played the old stuff at the end, and only at the end where we're like, all right, now we're all having a good time. I bring that up because sometimes you got to get people on your side, right? So at an open mic, I think it's very, very important to iterate to people that you are an original artist and you have your own shit. However, I think you need to build bridges, right? If you don't forget, when someone meets you for the first time, they have barriers, they have reluctance, resistance, unfamiliarity. It's just part of our human psyche, right? It just kind of is what it is. And the same thing applies for things like open mics. And it's hard because it's like at an open mic, people are expecting, they're not expecting much usually, right? But I feel like you got to build a bridge. And I feel like a great way to do that is to demonstrate your personality, your musical tastes, and of course, infuse your own stuff. So I think if you just do your own stuff, that's fine. That's one approach to it. But I feel like if you bring in influences from other sources, you'll build a bridge to say, hey, I'm like you. What do we talk about on the show when it comes to social media content? You're always kind of showing different layers of your personality to kind of showcase I'm like you on multiple levels because the music is just one way in which we connect with these people, right? So it's the same way when a band does covers, in a bar or something like, "Oh, I love that. You guys love that." And then they throw in their original right after that. It's kinda like we warmed you up a little bit. We've shown you can trust me. I have good taste. You can trust me. If you liked that, I like that. So I'm influenced by that. So you're probably going to like what I have to offer, right? That's just one approach. Again, you can go straight original material, but I feel like if you do bridge the gap between you and the audience in terms of the unfamiliarity and trying to burn away some of that unfamiliarity, that's just one way for them to kind of get back into your good graces a little bit and their good graces rather. So keep that in mind. I feel like that's just one approach to it. But I'm curious to see what you guys think. Shenanigans. Oh, what up, Shenanigans? Good to see you, my friend. Are you into battle rap? It's a weird scene, but it can really help your name get out there as an MC. Oh, yeah. I've been to a few of those, and it really, really can. And he says here, I've only done stand up comedy on stage, never rapped. It really psychs me out. It shouldn't, dude. Don't forget, too, by the way, when people are out, I want to bring this up, too, to anyone who may have like stage fright or any of these things. When people go out for a night out and they left their homes, they paid for parking, they did all these things. They want to have a good time, dude. They're not going to be like, huh, entertain me, monkey. They're people are going to root for you, like either subconsciously or explicitly. Like people want to go out and have a good time. So they want to see you do your best because selfishly they want to have a good time. So I wouldn't really to worry too much about that. That's why there's that classic saying, picture the crowd naked. The whole idea of that is like they're embarrassed, so you should feel fine. Like everything is it's fine. It's like everyone's feeling vulnerable and exposed. When I jam with musicians, I always say like jamming is a very intimate experience, and I say, sometimes people don't want to take their clothes off with me. It's an expression that I kind of like randomly said the other day, and I'm gonna keep saying because it's actually kind of funny. But yeah, like when I jam with someone, sometimes they're like, I don't want to, but like, would you just take your clothes off? Like it's okay, I accept you, and I wouldn't really worry too much about the audience when it comes to that, dude. They want to have a good time, and if you can do comedy, it's very similar parallel. Like you're working the crowd, and it does come down to confidence, right? If you've prepared a comedy set, you're confident delivering it. Same thing with a speech or whatever it might be. If you're prepared and you believe what you have is good and worth listening to, again, people who are going to be at a place waiting to hear an open mic, they are usually pretty receptive people. They're not the average, schmuck. They're people who are waiting for new talent. That's why they're at open mics. They want to hear new stuff. And by the way, you never know who you might meet at some of those things. I'm not talking about some like record exec. I'm talking about just other collaborators. So keep that in mind. And yes, Shenanigans, show us your junk. Word up. Do we have, how do you say his name? Anubis? I don't know. Is Anubis in the room? I don't think Anubis is, because remember, we give priority. If you submit to the show, we give you priority if you're in the chat. And I don't believe Anubis is in the chat. If you are, say something now, because I'm going to pull up Oliver Blue, who is in the chat and did submit something over here. In fact, let me just pull it up. Ooh, interesting. Andromeda. Wait, is this? Oh, is this the one that you that you revised, dog? I believe it is. Let me go up to the type form. All right. I think this is the one. Correct me if I'm wrong, Oliver Blue. I believe this is the same one that you delivered here, but you updated it. Show my ass, note taken. Word up, dude. Dude, again, just really, Primavera. My bad. Okay, yeah. So Andromeda Primavera. My bad. Okay, he says that one is still in the works with my buds in LA, but we do have one from Oliver Blue. This one is called Andromeda. Synthy, spacey house music, writing vocals at the moment. All right. Let's go ahead and pull it up. And he also had a question too, which I'll pull up, but we're going to listen to Andromeda. Here we go. What up, Mike? That's a wicked ass synth. Shit's sick. I do appear to say that. We'll drop. are gonna wrap there in the interest of time. I am on a tight timeline today, you guys. But yo, Oliver Blue, once again, out of the blue. Really dope, dude. I felt like actually I'm gonna pull up your track one more time because I do want to demonstrate a quick point. Dude, great bones. That synth is super interesting. It's definitely like the hero of the song. I just felt there overall, I put like great bones here. I felt like there's a lot here that's still left to be played with from a production sound design standpoint. And really I feel like tracks like this, like that's what really keeps us hooked, is that like there may not be a hook per se aside from the drop obviously, but I feel like with these kinds of productions, like the sound design is the thing that really kind of keeps us being hooked here. But I felt the one that really stood out to me of like I was waiting to be played with more. Pause. This part right here. Because that drop is really fucking cool. Like the syncopations there are really, really fun. Also, I felt like that could have come a little early. I felt like a lot of this middle section could have been condensed down a bit. But I feel like the hero part, if you will, there could have been something there. Maybe you like another, I don't know, add like another layer that slightly harmonizes with it. Bring it like add an effect to it, so we're slingshot into this part because this part is very much that. Like that break is kind of cool. Imagine if we was like dun 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 dun, boom, boom, like it all kind of and then it exploded from there. We had that little fake out of like the whole track just coming to a complete halt. It just adds more context to make that drop even more sensational. Because right now it felt like it felt like it felt like version 3, put it that way. It felt like you built a track that was really fun and dope, and then it ended because you're still in the process of working on it. So, really, really good shit though, dude. I really do like the bones of this, and I don't know. I feel like the name Andromeda does actually work for me. I don't know. It sounds otherworldly, so it is all good. And his question was, "Do you have any tips for getting into streaming? I'm interested in doing a small weekly radio show." You can do both actually with Spotify right now. You can upload little podcasts and little audio forms to give context to your song. Streaming is all about consistency and output. Obviously, using things like Submit Hub and Playlist Push and all these things are obviously part of it. But I'll tell you the same thing that I've told a lot of people, dude, is that you've got to build that bank of stuff first. Don't be in this place where you put out music and then you're in this rush to make more stuff. Try to bank at least 8 to 12 tracks so you have consistent output of every like 3 to 6 weeks, depending on what you're doing and what your scene is. But you want to build the steady drip, of course. So have your tracks built, mixed and mastered, and I'm a firm believer that you should already be working on the next stuff while your current stuff is coming out. That's just where I'm at. And even right now, another band project I'm in right now, we're in this process of getting things mixed for the EP, but I'm already telling them like we need to be in the room like writing new stuff now. Like while it's getting mixed, what are we doing? Just chilling here? We have to get stuff ready. The same thing for when it comes to producing. While you're dripping, you should be dripping the old shit. Basically. And I know it's hard because you're excited about the new stuff, but you should be dripping the old stuff so you already have the canon constantly build. So keep that in mind. Shenanigans. I was also thinking about some 16-note trap like hats that can come in around the section where the drums before the build, just to keep it more entertaining. If the speaker quality is not as high, that's something to actually really keep in mind. Also, yeah, I saw Confucius had a point about the drums too. I felt like they weren't boring or bad per se. I just felt like as the track progresses, again, you guys, I mean, especially in electronic music, the challenge, of course, is try to always to bring the humanity through. That's just my perspective. How can you bring the humanity through the machines? And as a drummer, I'll just tell you right now, the way I play is always progressive. You know, even like in the first chorus, I never like blow my load in the first chorus. Like you always try to lead somewhere and always have something building. So verse 2, you know, as a drummer, I might change the hi-hat patterns ever so slightly with maybe a different swing, some more open notes, maybe slightly different patterns. The kick might pick up a little bit on verse 2. You know what I'm trying to say? Like things will just kind of feel a little more progressive. So that's kind of how I approach it. So I encourage you guys to think about it in the same way. All right. I don't see any other submissions from anyone in the chat, but if you guys are down, I'll throw a little track that I'm working on right now. literally still working on this right now. I actually was in San Diego producing this track with my buddy. His name's Derek Domino, and he actually came to LA and we jammed out some stuff. We just were in the room, we were just jamming. So my whole process, I'm a little more old school. I didn't have a DAW until I was like 20. No, that's not true. Until I was like 18, but I didn't really like fuck with DAWs until like I was 20. So I come from just musicians picking up instruments and writing. So my process, it's always worked best if I'm in the room. I do with someone else too, where we jam. We just keep jamming for hours, and then you know when you hear it, you're like, aha, aha, aha. That, take note of that. Take note of that riff. Take note of that. Take note of that. So we recorded a bunch of riffs, and then this weekend was all about, all right, let's take those recordings and just start producing them. And we came out with 3 tracks. One is a bit more, like prog, rock, electro. I don't know what it is, and the other 2 are a bit more housey. I think I'll show the more rock prog one. But I'm curious to hear your guys' thoughts because I know what needs to be worked on, and this is V1, by the way. So let me pull this up, and y'all let me know what you think of this one. Fake drums right now. I mean, I got to go record real drums on this later this week. But let me know what y'all think of this one. I'm kind of curious. And let me know if you even dig me showing my own shit, because I do want to make sure this is your guys' time. But to show you that I'm not just, talking about it, I'm doing it too. That's actually a synth. That's not a guitar, that's a synth. Here's where it gets a little weird. Bear with me. Ready for this part. you go. That's the kind of weird shit I'm on. Yeah, any feedback y'all have about anything, I'm an open book. Please, by all means, leave your feedback. Um, it's as you saw, it's V1, you guys, and that's why I love fucking making music is because that's version 1, and then I feel like the longer you sit with something and literally sleep on it and then come back to it, the more interesting things come out. But yeah, let me know. Yeah, let me know, if you I mean, what genre would you guys throw that in? That's probably the best feedback I can probably get from y'all right now before I dip out of here. It's like, what genre do you think that would be? I don't even know. And I'm actually okay with that. It's a double-edged sword because on one hand, like I'd like to fit into a box with all my projects, but I'm noticing a lot of my projects just don't fit in boxes. Because as someone pointed out, I like music that's an adventure. I like to go places, and I feel like I like to re-listen to music because I get rewarded for that feedback loop, that adventurous feeling. That's the kind of shit I like to make. Um, but yeah, some say metal, adventure. Yeah, I mean, it's got elements of prog. It's got some electro. Maybe on the next stream, I'll let you guys hear some of the other stuff that we've got too. It's a little more housey, which I don't know. That's the kind of stuff we make. The big challenge, though, of course, is because we're both live performers. While we're making this, we're both like, how do we do this live? And I don't know. I feel like I'd rather worry about that later. I've been in bands when someone's like, no, we can't do that because we can't do that live, or how are we going to reproduce that live? I'm like, dude, the record and the live performance are different, two different things. But there's a part of me that's a little, I wouldn't say worried, but a little conscious. There's the right word. A little conscious of like, okay, we do have to play this back live, and just two of us. So maybe this will turn into another band. Surprise, surprise. I'm in a fifth band. But also, why I think it's very important, you guys. I'll kind of wrap up on this note to have multiple projects. I was kind of talking about this over the weekend. Like when I only had one project, when I only had Rizik, I was trying to make Rizik everything. Like you guys have clearly just heard my louder, more aggressive side, but I also have a very soft, soft side. I like to make soft, gentle music. And at a certain point, I got bored of making that. And I kind of thought, well, I have to make Rizik everything because it's the only project I have, and it's getting lots of streams. I might as well promote my stuff. But I tried a little bit. It didn't work too well. I felt like the playlisters didn't add me to any playlists. I feel like they kind of knew Rizik as like the softer, gentler project. But then I joined a rock band and then another rock band. And now I have this experimental prog electro rock project here. And now that I'm playing so much heavy music, I'm actually craving to jump back into Rizik stuff because I think all of us who make music, we have taste. We have taste in music. And I feel like those of us who have the best taste and the most taste, subjectively speaking, of course, don't stick to one genre. Like we like all kinds of genres, especially younger people today growing up in the era of streaming. I feel like genres have just been more available and people are into more different things. So I bring that up to you guys to maybe encourage the concept or at least think of the idea of not putting all your eggs in one basket. If you truly have different tastes and, different pursuits of music, maybe it's better to be diversified even when it comes to different projects because it's also helpful, by the way, now that I know Rizik is just the gentler, softer stuff, to like, okay, I'm making Rizik stuff, I know exactly what I need to be making, or vice versa. Like, oh, I'm making some gentle stuff, I guess this is a Rizik thing. But that project right there is not Rizik. That's something else completely different. So I feel like as musicians, we should be encouraged to spread our wings. But that's basically it, you guys. Like I said, I got to dip out to a recording session to put that drum to use. That is a Gretsch bell brass, by the way, if you're interested in learning about what that is. Used on all kinds of legendary recordings, mostly in the late 80s, early 90s. A lot of like the Nirvana records all use this. The Foo Fighters. This is actually the exact drum that the now deceased former Taylor Hawkins of the Foo Fighters actually used as well. So it's a very, very loud. That's why I have to go test it to make sure I don't bug the producer with it. But yeah, I got to dip out of here, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. We will be back next week with the full show. And please continue to submit your music. Use the artistpro.com to submit that. Use that hashtag or that QR code over there to do that. So please let me know what you guys think of the show. Send me any questions, any feedback. I will be back next week. Actually, next week I may even have a guest. Cliffhanger. But thank you guys for joining. Come back again soon. I will see you here next week, next Monday for Artist Pro Live. Same place, same time. Have a great week, y'all. I'll talk to y'all a little bit later.